Moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs, last but not least, the first overall loser. 14-2 last season, 5th in offense, 21st in defense. This offseason, they lost Sammy Watkins, cornerback Prashad Breeland, Lev Bell, and tackle Eric Fisher. But they retooled their offensive line extensively. And they added Pro Bowl guard Joe Thuney from the Patriots. Kyle Long came out of retirement to play for him. He's also a guard. Austin Blythe from the Rams. You guys know him. He's good. And they got Orlando Brown, who's a former Pro Bowler, paid him a ton of money. This O-line is brand new, retooled, top 2 offensive lines in the league right now. They went into the draft, and they drafted Nick Bolton, a linebacker, and a center, Creed Humphrey, Alex. So why are the Chiefs going to win the Super Bowl this season?
Well, no.
You know they're going to be good.
Obviously,
so are they going to win the Super Bowl?
If they get Aaron Rodgers, obviously. But, I mean, you have to consider them the favorites, especially to come out of the AFC. Top 3 quarterback, top 3 wide receiver, top 3 tight end, top 2 offensive line. Defense is pretty stacked. Got one little issue with Clark, depending on what happens with his off-field situation. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, almost underrated, possibly because of sort of a weird season last year. This Chiefs team is loaded. They're going to be good. You know, we seem excited about some of the other teams in this division, but none of us are like, oh yeah, they're going to go 15-2. But this Chiefs team could go 15-2. They're that good. And I mean, we saw it in the Super Bowl. Their biggest weakness was an iffy offensive line after some opt-outs and some injuries. This team's, I mean, you have probably the best quarterback and now a top 2 offensive line. Typically, when you have a good quarterback and a good offensive line, things go well for you. So, Kansas City Chiefs are going to be very good. They do have a kind of a tough schedule, actually. Their first 8 games, they play some really good teams, but they finish off a little bit easier. So I think this Chiefs team is going to be very good.
Traden, why are the Chiefs going to suck?
Well, I don't know.
All right, Garrett Cole.
Look, I mean, I definitely took the hardest, topic or part of this whole conversation. And I guess I'm only going to have to point out that, I understand that the offensive line already started to have some issues halfway through. But we saw that this team was, kind of had way too many close games against so-so teams, for most of the season last year. I mean, after that week 8, domination of the Jets, they play teams like the Panthers, the Raiders, Broncos, and they're only 1-score games. And I just kind of look at that and like, what's kind of going on there? I mean, if you're an elite team, you should be, playing a lot better than that. And then I'm not going to count the last loss against the Chargers when they didn't even play their main guys. But I also look at, yes, they did retool their offensive line, but, maybe they don't gel. I guess, some crazier things have happened. And if they just don't gel, then we might see a subpar or a mediocre offensive line. And we saw what happens when the offensive line is iffy with this team. And I think that we also have to look at the other teams in the division. I think that the Raiders are going to have a little bit better season, not a great season, but a bit better season. The Chargers, I have, having a much better season and giving the Chiefs a little bit of a run for their money. And I could also, throw in the Browns. I think they're a better team. There's a lot more. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to be a little bit more improved, which is going to make it a little bit harder for the Chiefs. On top of that, this is the second straight season that the Chiefs are considered, I guess the third straight season that the Chiefs are considered the best team in the NFL. And you can't tell me that these teams don't have their number and studied the tape and want to, have found the weaknesses that the Chiefs may or may not have. And they're going to try to exploit them in every single way possible. So I just think that the teams they play aren't going to make it easy. And we may see an offensive line that kind of isn't as fantastic as we say they're going to be. Am I crazy for saying that? Yes, I'm a fucking idiot, but I have to say something. So 15-2, here we come.
15. Okay. Alex, what do you think?
I don't actually think they're going to go 15-2. That's last year I said something stupid about the Ravens, and that didn't go well. So I'm not going big this year with these good teams. I think it's more like a 13-4. It might take some time for that offensive line to gel. Again, that beginning of the season, I mean, they play the Browns and the Ravens back to back to open the season up. Those are good teams. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I do think this team is easily the best in this division and should win it pretty easily.
I'm going to agree with Trey, and I'm going to say 15-2. I don't see this. This team is too talented and too good and too well coached to lose more than 2 games. Patrick Mahomes, fantastic. O-line, top 2. The only thing that didn't really improve on is their defense. And like Alex alluded to earlier, Frank Clark may or may not be suspended for the year. Who knows? But if he's out, you got to find some other pass rusher. Maybe go get Melvin Ingram just to mess with the Chargers' head. Got to do something because right now you have no pressure without Frank Clark. Eric, how are they going to finish?
13-4. I think maybe a couple games slip away from them. Last year they kept coming back. Games that they started out slow, they would pick it up back in the end and pull off those wins. So I think a few of those will get to them this year, but they'll still be fine. 13-4.
And then Tyler.
I'll go 14-3. I mean, I guess as you guys mentioned, this team is, elite, and they'll play that way all season.
Okay. Let's talk fantasy real fast. Alex, quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He finished as quarterback number 4. Does he finish as quarterback 3, 2, or 1 this season?
I'd say quarterback 4 again. I don't think he's going to run as much as some of the other quarterbacks that we'll talk about, obviously, when we get to other divisions. He can put up huge numbers, but that mobile quarterback is elite in fantasy football. Fantasy football quarterbacks are better than real quarterbacks sometimes, and real quarterbacks are shitty in fantasy football sometimes. It doesn't always make a whole lot of sense, but I'd say he's still a top 5, but I don't think he's going to finish in the top 3.
Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire finished as running back 23 last season. His ADP right now is 35. Are you concerned with his inability to find the end zone?
No, not really. I think he was a rookie. I think he's got some growing up to do. I'm not going to pick him in the first round. I can tell you that much. Like he was going, I feel like last year. I didn't pick him, but I think he was going towards the end of the first round in a lot of drafts. I see him probably ending up as like a top 15 in that 15 to 10 range. I'm expecting a step up, but I don't think he's going to be the top echelon of running backs.
Tyreek Hill, how early would you draft him? Right now he's going at 9.
Well, I got burned drafting a wide receiver in the first round last year. Michael Thomas, you buck. So I'm going to try to avoid doing it again. But if you're at the end of the first round and all the big running backs are gone, go for it. He's shown to have elite games, but he can sometimes disappear a little bit. So I'm thinking more like early second, more than late first personally. But if you have a good feeling on it, I could see you, go and pick 9, 10, 11, something like that, depending on your league size.
Travis Kelce, same question. He's going at number 7 right now.
Yeah, so I would actually not do what Tyler said, and I would wait and draft Darren Waller where he's going, because then you're getting almost Travis Kelce in the second, and then you can get a running back in the first. So I would not pick Travis Kelce number 7. I'm also an idiot, though, so if you don't want to listen to me, I completely understand, but that's not typically my strategy. But he is most likely going to be the number 1 target for the Chiefs offense. He almost led the league in receiving yards last year as a tight end, which would have been nuts. But, he got figured out in the Super Bowl. Maybe that was an offensive line issue, but I would not pick him number 7, but I could understand somebody doing it.
Got it.